right, now welcome once again, and thank you so much for staying with us here on the Morning Drift. Once again, my name is Brian Amwai, and the conversation we are having this morning is work-life balance. How do we balance that? And I think we start with this. The reality of society is that many people work long hours in jobs they hate, to buy things they don't need, to impress people they don't like. Okay. I have a guest in studio who is a life coach. Angela Nzelani joins me here for this conversation to help us understand how we can balance life and work. Some of us just work long hours because we are afraid if we run out of our 20s, then we might suffer in our 30s and 40s. Is that really the case? That's what we want to find out this morning. Angela, thank you for making time for this conversation here on the Morning Drift. Let me start with trying to understand, because somebody may be seated somewhere and not getting what exactly I'm meaning when I say work-life balance. What is it first?
I think it is finding an equilibrium or at the same level, having both your work life and your personal life at balance or at an equilibrium. I'm
so
trying to avoid using the word balance again.
So it is a possibility to actually balance life and work, because some people find it hard to do it. I know of colleagues who don't have that.
I think the best way to look at it is not to look at it like a balance or a necessary equilibrium, but one and the same thing. It's part of life to be working. It's part of life to have personal life. Okay. So I think it's just looking at the necessity of all of them, everything in your life, every aspect in your life being equally taken care of. So it's up to us to feel and to be responsible for every aspect of our lives. Okay. Yeah.
Let's look at what we would look at and say, now this person, in terms of balancing life and private life, work life and private life is actually, it's not there. They don't have a social life or things like that. What will we look at and say, by the way, Edu or Jemo or Nancy do not have a balance when it comes to life and private life?
I think when you see that in your life there are some things that are lacking, like you don't have a social life at all, you don't take care of your own self, like self-care or your own spirituality, all these things are everything about life. So when you realize that I'm working too hard, 7 days a week, 24/7, it means that there's something that is missing in your life. There's something that you need to take care of that is not being taken care of. I like the introduction you gave about there are people who work so hard to make a lot of money, to buy things that they don't need, and yet they are only doing these things to please other people. So at the end of the day, it's like the people you're doing things, the reason you're doing this for is for other people, not for your own sake. Yeah. So everything, I think it should be, you should look at your why and your reason for doing whatever you're doing should be very personal. If it is the kind of money you're looking for, why are you looking for it? Where do you want to put it into? Is it about taking care of your children and taking care of yourself so that you feel happy, and what makes you happy, such kind of things. So I think it's up to us to look at just everything in every aspect that we desire to be taken care of in our lives and see, am I taking care of these things? Okay.
Let me get this social life aspect, because most of the time we talk about social life and so you don't have a social life. What is this social life? Because somebody will say, okay, maybe if I'm not at work, I'll be watching a movie and I think that is okay with me. And somebody says, you need to hang out with people, your family and things like that. And so, that's not something I do. So do I have a social life or I don't?
As long as you're a human, you're a social being. Okay. So I would say social life is having relationships. It's building relationships, having relationships out of your family, not just your family alone, because we are social beings and everyone is equipped with something that somebody else needs. And if you're only keeping time to yourself, you will only have what you have. So it's good to connect with other people to get to receive from them, because life is about giving and receiving. So even you being social is part of also, giving is part of being social. It's part of the social life.
Okay.
So it's about giving and taking. So you have to be receptive, and you also have to be a giver to be a social person.
Okay. So when we spend a lot of time at work, how does this other private life of us get to suffer in our social life?
When you're spending too much time at work, of course, at work, sometimes you have relationships there because you have colleagues. Of course, that's also a place where you can build your social life. When you spend too much work and ignoring what is happening at home, something will suffer, either your children, or probably you'll not even have those children, or you'll not have a wife or a husband, or, and there will be something that is missing in your life. And there are things that cannot be replaced. There are things that, there are so many people who say that I'm okay being single.
Is it not a good thing?
Okay, yeah, it's okay to be single, but what are they doing for that need that a spouse or a partner is supposed to give you? There's something they are doing. So what are they doing? And you realize that these are the people who have several partners, 10 or 15 partners.
They're just afraid of committing to one.
Yeah, afraid of saying that I need somebody. I need someone in my life. But you realize that sometimes, yes, there are people who are okay. They are alone and they are okay. I'm okay. I'm alone. I'm giving an example of myself. But I'm not saying that I'm not a social person. I'm not exposing myself out there for whatever is in store for me out there to come my way. I think it's good to be to just say that and to accept that it is a need, it is necessary for people to have those connections. So if you're spending too much time at work and not paying attention to these other needs or these other parts of your life, there will come a time when you will feel drained. You will feel that I need this and probably it's too late for me to get it. And then now you will spend your old age not enjoying what you're supposed to be enjoying, like enjoying just admiring your children grow, enjoying the company of your spouse, such kind of things.
And I'll come to that when you say, probably somebody says I'm married to my job, so this is the most important thing that I have to be channeling. But listen, in terms of being a social being, to some extent, somebody might get a little bit confused and say, I'm a social being, so I need to socialize so that I get to balance my life, my work life, and also my personal life. But where do you draw the line in that socializing that you don't get to indulge in some activities that will actually come to, haunt you later in the name of, I have a personal life, I have a private life, I have a social life, so let me go waste myself somewhere, this and that?
I think it's very important for us to have values. Because values are it's like your personal constitution. There are things that we cannot do in Kenya because our constitution demands that we live in a certain way. The same way you as a person need to have your own constitution that demands you live in a certain way so that you don't have to come and regret in future or have regrets of things that you did that were not right or they took you to places that you shouldn't have gone to. So it's good to just know that as a person I need to know what I can take, what rules I can break and what rules I cannot break, so that you don't have to live a life of future regrets. Yeah,
that's the thing, because I feel to some extent people who are young get to get into the social aspect of it, but some have it's fueled by peer pressure. So as a young person that you want, yes, I have a job. Yes, I have a social life, but this social life should not come again and ruin my life in terms of me being a social being and wanting to prove to the world that, I have a social life per se. So where do you make it and say, okay, peer pressure, as much as it comes, is all going to make me do things that I'm going to regret later on?
I think it's good to have fun. It's good to, being a young person, to have a social life that brings in, that youngness. But also, it's good to have morals That's why I was talking about values. It's good to have morals that control you. It's good to know that if I do this, then this happens. Of course, you cannot go around being careless with your life because just because other people are doing it or other people around you are doing it. And as we are making friends and we are becoming social, or we are knowing that we are social beings and taking responsibility of that aspect of our lives, then we have also to know that there are limits. I can be your friend, and when I realize that there are things that you're doing that I do not like, then I need to know that I can only hang out with you at a certain level, or I cannot just give you all my time. I cannot just have to be like you. It's either I will try to help you look at life my way or in the right way, and if you're not, then it's my responsibility to take care of myself and probably distance myself from you, because our environments tend to define who we are a lot. Because if today you wake up in the morning and you realize maybe your car has broken down and you're not going to be using it for a week, and your neighbor has to give you a lift to work every day for 1 week, your neighbor loves reggae music, but you love gospel music. You actually hate reggae music, but he plays reggae music every morning when you're going to work. Within a week, you will be humming reggae music, trust me. So that is how our environments have control over us.
When you mentioned reggae, I was tempted to sing, but we're not going to do that. Listen, this is the thing. I want us to look at some of the things that we can say in a social aspect and do that are, at the same time, are not harmless. One, they go within our value set, or that if at all somebody has that. And, you know, when people look at it, they say, by the way, this one is enjoying life. Because I know a lot of people, some youth, do struggle with just trying to define what enjoying your youth is. Because this is a personal experience. I got, there's a small friend of mine that I used to tutor, Brayo, do you enjoy your youth? And I was like, how do I answer that? Because what definition do I give to enjoying my youth? Because a lot of people my age will have a different kind of definition when it comes to that, but maybe that does not apply to me. So when it comes to having a social life and enjoying it, how do you define that so that to some extent it's at the same time okay and doesn't ruin you?
I think, enjoying your youth is very relative. Even when I was younger, I think the way I enjoy my youthfulness now is very different from the way I was when I was younger. When I was younger, I was less informed, and I wish I knew the things I know now then. You know, I'm not regretting because I've learned my lessons and now they've become my stepping stones. So I think when we are younger, sometimes we don't understand that enjoying your youthfulness is doing everything that you can do to have fun, to be happy where you are with what you have, and as you build yourself, as you continue growing yourself. So it's not, doing things that are putting yourself in danger. Like we saw the other day, there was this accident that happened and people were drinking and traveling at the same time. Most likely the driver was also drunk. That's why maybe, if you look at even the scenario of how it happened, most likely, I'm not saying it is, but most likely that's what happened. And that is now what we are talking about, being careful with what you have, with the people around you. Are they people who can give you caution? Are they people who can, as much as you're having fun, are you, I think it's good to also know that there are some levels of friendships that are very necessary and others are not very necessary. If I'm messing up, is my friend able to come and tell me, see here, you're messing up. I don't see that this is going to help you get to where you're going. People that are you're able to share your dreams with and your aspirations with, so that at least they have, or they build you, they help you to be like stepping stones to the next level. So I think as much as we have fun, it's good to be very careful with what might even hurt us as we have this fun.
Okay, just to digress a little bit, when you mentioned something to do with friends who are actually, you know, take you to the right direction, how important is that to just have people around you that as much as you people are in the social square and having all the fun, they still can be able to, you know, hold you to account and ground you to your principles and morals and values and things like that, and tell you, by the way, this one you're messing up. There's another one that will just encourage you to do more because now you're proving to be a rebel or defiant or something like that, and that is enjoyment to some extent to them.
I think it's very important to have this kind of friends who help you grow, not just the fun. Yes, it's good to have fun once in a while, but it's not the everyday thing, and it is not what really should define friendship. Because I think many people are defining friendships with the people we hang out with, and it's our culture in Kenya. We like fun, we like going out, we like, you know, we like going out for a dance or a drink or, you know, this kind of things. But it's good to ask yourself at the end of the day, what did I gain from this outing? What did I gain from this sitting? And for me, when I see that I've given someone time over and over, and I've realized that I'm not growing from, you know, sitting down with this person. And this is what self-care is all about, being able to take stock of what is happening around you and being able to correct whatever it needs to be corrected. So when I take stock and I realize that this person, I'm not growing, I'm just wasting my time, I'm passing time with this person, then I need to readdress our friendship and probably be the bigger person now and try to nurture this friendship into a place where it can help me grow. So I'm not saying that we let it go, I say we build each other. Okay. So I will build you in a way that is a friendly way. I'm not demeaning you. I'm not putting you down, saying that you don't know this, you don't know that. No, I'm going to share what I know and what I think we should be doing. Apart from just having fun, what else are we doing to grow ourselves? Okay.
Something else that I mentioned when we started, it was to do with some people who are working in their 20s, because at the end of the day, you're working towards your future and you want to secure that so that by the time you're old, you have something and you're not beggar, you're bigger, things like that. So you believe in working so hard at this particular time so that you can have quality life in future. Can you, is this a mindset, or maybe we get to enjoy life right now, then now start working for the future tomorrow?
I think everything has to go. People have to enjoy life even when you're at 70. Who says that old age means you die in misery, you know? Yeah. We should be able to enjoy life from our younger age. Of course, when we are younger, we are more energetic. We should put more time into work. But as much as we are putting more time into work, we should also put more time into our personal lives. Is it marriage? Am I getting married? When do I want to get married? And what am I doing
you're supposed to be having today?
Pardon?
Those are plans that you're supposed to be making today in terms of just progression.
Actually, I was made aware that of course, after a lot of time, and also even me wasting a lot of time, that even young children, like teenage and you know, from 10 and above, we should be talking to our children about marriage, about what are you preparing yourself for? Because if you don't have that vision where you want to go, then you will get to 30 and no one ever talked to you about that. You never even thought about that, and this you realize, oh, this is the age that people get married. Now what do I do? But now, if you had prepared yourself from even teenage, you would be, everything you're doing, when you're studying, you know, I'm studying to become this, and because I want to attract this kind of a wife or this kind of a husband, this kind of life, these places where I want to live, this is the kind of life I want to live. And if we equip our young people with that when they are young, trust you me, we will have a better future tomorrow.
Okay. I think that is important, because as you speak, it just dawns on me that the other day I was just sitting down and I'm like, oh, so in the next few years, I'm supposed to be a married man with kids and all that by the time this regime is done. That's the thing.
But
it's not a plan that I had in my head. But I'm just looking at, so this is actually coming to this. Did I plan that I will be getting married at this particular age? No, because we didn't have this conversation. We didn't have that conversation when I was young and set this goal. At this particular time, maybe this is when you're supposed to be making this shift. And I think when we don't have those conversations, it is when we just realize that I'm supposed to be making a shift and maybe you didn't have a plan on how to do it. Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's get to now the working aspect of it, because now we've touched a little bit on the social side. Now the working side of it, because to some extent we have environments that require you to actually be working most of the time. You don't have a choice, because you need to be there. You need to make money first, and social life will come later, maybe according to how you are operating in that particular industry. How do you get to balance that, and what kind of mode should those places of work actually employ to make sure that as much as we have employees who are working, they also need a social life? We help them balance, because I don't think a lot of places do that.
Yeah, many places are just looking for the money. And productivity is only measured in terms of money. But I think it is very important for us to measure productivity in terms of the change that you're creating also. First of all, within your organization. How am I treating my employees? Am I making sure that they are of the right mindset? Am I making sure that, because when you treat them well, you get more customers. Everything is intertwined. Nothing is of waste. So if we take care of our workers well, then it means they will become more productive, they will become more happier, the environment is peaceful, it's conducive for work, and we grow faster. But many employers are looking at the money aspect. So you realize that these employees are working so hard. Probably they're even stealing from you, because now they are tired and they're exhausted and they are poorly remunerated. So every chance I get to step away from work and to even just sleep, not to go to that office, I will take it. So you will realize that the people you are keeping in that office they would sabotage your productivity or your growth at whatever. Consciously or even unconsciously, they will do that at whatever chance they're given. So it's good to balance all these things.
Yeah. Now let's talk about family, because parents to some extent get to a point where I am a mother, I have a family of mine. I saw somebody resign because they were like, I didn't have enough time for my kids. I go to work. They come back, I come back home and they've forgotten who I am. They're calling the nanny, mommy, and so I didn't have that quality time. So to some extent, it makes, when you sit down, it makes you question, something always has to give to some extent? What does this mean, that somebody has to resign for them to have, that family time or something like that? How do we not balance that?
I think when you become a parent, your responsibility number one is being a parent. And being a parent is also getting that income to take care of that parent, of that home. But if you have a place or maybe a spouse who is working and you guys can balance with the income of the other spouse, then it's okay to decide, let's have one of us stay with the kids for them to grow well. We don't want values being input into them by other people. We want to input our own values to these kids. So it is responsibility number one for us parents to be there for our children and to make sure that they grow according to what we would want to put in them. So I don't think that there's anything wrong. Of course, it would be wrong if there's no other arrangement into how do I take care of them? Because running a home is expensive. We can't say that that's something, an aspect of life that we cannot ignore. It is expensive, and we have to bring in money. So if probably you're having a nanny at home and you have to go to work, then how do you treat this nanny? how do you educate her into the values or include her in the values of the home, so that when you go home, you know, I'm going home to my family. It's not that I'm going home to my nanny and my children. It's I'm going home to my family. So she becomes one of you guys, and she's able to now run the family and help run the family, not just run the family, but help.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, I'm running out of time. I need to wind up this conversation, but I'd like to put this to you as we wind up. Some people are busy. You make a very tight schedule and say, I'm a very busy person, I don't have time for any other thing. And people term it like, okay, he doesn't have a social life, or she doesn't have a social life, that's why she's doing that. And maybe she's too busy with her work because he's too busy with his work because he's avoiding to be lonely. So that's to some extent. What's your take on that?
I think it's lack of information. Lack of information of knowing that I need all these things in my life. Yes, people might say whatever they will say. Yes, in every time people will always have something to say about your life. But I think it is good to know if I'm putting too much time into work and nothing into my personal life, then something will suffer. That's given. Okay,
I'm being informed we need to take a break here on the Morning Drift. Are we coming back, Director? All right. All right, so we are taking a short break here on the Morning Drift. We'll continue with the conversation, work-life balance. Let's take that short break. Continue engaging us on our socials at Amoy Brand on Twitter at LookUpTV. The hashtag is the Morning Drift, and at LookUpTV. We'll be able to sample your feedback as we continue with this conversation here on the program. That break.
Vera Beauty and Fashion College is focused on being the leading technical and vocational training institute in the region. Our team possesses in-depth knowledge and extensive experience in the industry, offering thorough training in cosmetology, hairdressing, interior design, creative arts, training of trainers, nail technology, and fashion design. With branches in Nairobi, Thika, Meru, Eldoret, and now in Mombasa, our courses ensure that learners are completely equipped with knowledge, competency, and employability skills. Enroll today to be a part of a center of excellence.
Get a chance to wake up as a tourist as you view Mount Kenya every day by buying a plot of land at Wema Gardens, Naru Moru. At only 400 meters off tarmac, this is the right place to build your dream home, cottages or holiday homes. You can also buy this property to give to your children as a special inheritance. Water and electricity are in the vicinity, while neighbors are already building their homes. These plots are specially ready for you with title deeds scheduled to be out in 6 months. Buy a 50 by 100 plot of land at Wema Gardens for only 399,000 Kenya shillings. You can also pay for your plot through our friendly one-year installments plan.
Good to have you join us on Heart to Heart.
We bring you stories of people who, despite the pressures they experienced, still trusted God to see them through.
The seeds that was sown in me helped me navigate and overcome that period of my life.
New testimonies, new insights, and even better revelation of the good things God has in store for us.
There is always a blessing waiting for someone in every episode.
Born a man, the society bestows tough responsibilities upon you.
Lazima uwe mtu wa bidii, ukija kuoa lazima uwe ni provider.
If you're not able to provide, that's a challenge. It takes a toll on a man.
It takes someone who is strong enough to face it.
This is Born a Man.
Hapa Kazi Tu inaendelea kuwasaka na kuwatambua wale ambao wanafanya kazi extraordinary na zile kazi za kujituma.
Biashara yote unaambiangwa, as long as you have a plan, you can do it. Our service is about kufurahisha the customer.
Mpenzi mtazamaji, hii ni Hapa Kazi Tu.
All right, now thank you so much for staying with us here on the program. This is the Morning Drift. What are we talking about? Work-life balance. Are you able to balance your work and your personal life, and also some of the gaps that exist in between? How exactly do we make it better for the both of us so that we get to enjoy, go to work at the same time and say, you have a personal life that you actually go back to every time you are done working and all that. And joining me for this conversation is Angela Nzilani, who is a life coach, and we'll be having this conversation. Before we went for a break, we're just talking about how you can be a parent and at the same time not be able to create time for your family and things like that. And we are talking about, where you dedicate a lot of time to your work, that people now start assuming that, these people are just afraid to be lonely or they don't have anything else to do. That's why they are so busy doing their work. How do we handle
that? Life, I can say that life is very personal. And whether you choose to be at work more hours or not, it's up to you. But as much as probably if you don't have another like a family, it's okay to be working more hours, because maybe that's what you're building towards. Because I think at the end of the day, what matters is where you want to go. Are you having a clarity of where you're going with your life? And if you know that, I know that in future I want to have a family, and after this period of time, then I need to put in more effort at work so that I prepare for that. That's all right. And if people look at it negatively, that's up to them. You can never go explaining everything about your life to everybody. So I think it's very personal. But when you have a family and you have other responsibilities apart from work, then it is good to balance all this. It is good to give enough time for your personal life, which is family, children, and probably even friends. And it's also good to give enough time for work.
I'd like to bring a group of people here, and that is people who are probably single parents and all that. And it becomes a little bit tedious to some extent, for the lack of a better word, because now you are one parent, you are providing for your entire family. You might not even have enough time for them, but you also need some personal time for yourself. But if you decide to choose that, one part has to suffer. And that's why earlier on we actually mentioned whereby somebody decides now, let me resign and do something different that will allow me to be close to my family. But somebody that will choose to do that, to some extent they are with a different partner. It's a couple. So they say, well, go to work, let me now spend time with my family. How does a parent that is just the sole breadwinner balance this?
I've just your question has just reminded me of a time I was sitting with some people, and they were trying to argue that families from single parents suffer more because they don't have more time, and the children come out vibaya, they don't have the right values and all this. But in real sense, many times you realize that the parent who knows that I am alone, and if they are responsible, I am alone, so I have to do what it takes to make sure that I bring up my children properly. Then they take an extra effort into even bringing in probably a nanny or somebody else to come and help, either a houseboy or a nanny. And I think for us, I'm speaking from a point of view of a single parent because I am one. And what I have done in my own home is that I have a nanny and she is part of us.
Okay.
The way I treat my children is the way I treat her. She is very friendly with my children. She is, I can say that she's even fun to be around because I have created the right environment for us to coexist so that we help each other in bringing up this family. So I think it is up to the single parent to know that I am alone, so I need an extra effort. I need an extra hand, even probably even in terms of mentorship. For the children, I have taken an extra effort and gotten my children a mentor so that they don't lack in some things because I'm bringing up boys, I'm a woman. So I need to know that they will grow properly, they will become men in the society. And when they get out there, there will not be anything that can differentiate them from children who were brought up in a home where both parents were there, were present. And you cannot tell the difference. So I think it's up to us to just know what you have around you. If you're a single parent, what do I need to do? And sometimes couples neglect the fact that we need to do an extra effort because they assume that we are two of us. So kazi ni kidogo. So you end up realizing that none of them is even taking the initiative to do what they're supposed to do. And you realize that sometimes even there are children from homes of both parents that did not even come out properly like they should.
Exactly. I want to bring out this aspect in terms of, because and the question I raised was, we have a couple, two parents who are raising a family, and maybe to them they find it a little bit easier. And there's this one single parent who is raising also a family. And now you say you are a perfect example. When you sit down with parents, a couple that has raised their family, do you feel like for you it's a little bit tedious and for them it's a little bit easy, or is equally the way you've planned yourself, you find that it's a flow?
Actually, I've never looked at it like tedious. I think what matters is, and what makes people feel like it's tedious is comparing. You're comparing yourself with other people. If we could all just live our own lives, then you'll be content and you'll do the right thing for your own family, for your own space, for your own life. But when I start comparing myself with another family that there's a husband and a wife, then I will start seeing, weaknesses in my own place. But if I can choose to see the strengths, then I continue building on the strengths. And of course, the weaknesses will not even be visible because the strengths will be too big that they cover up for the absence of the other partner.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now let's talk about this, just still in the family setup, where one partner so invested in their work that they forget that they have a family, and to some extent actually leads to people separating because nakuanga kwa kazi kila wakati. When we try to make time for the family, you don't even have that. How does a family make their life productive and have that quality time with the parent and all that? How do you just get to balance that? You come from that busy schedule and make time for this family so that at the same time you're working there, but you also get to, maintain a solid family. Because you say, sometimes they say if your family is very grounded and it's okay, then even your productivity at work is going to be perfect.
Exactly. And I think many people lack in making the other person to feel seen, to feel appreciated. And sometimes you realize that maybe one spouse is working and the other one is at home taking care of the home. When you come home, now you start playing like I'm the one who is working, not knowing that even running the home, now being there at home is a lot of work. Actually, there has been some viral videos that go around when a man is told now, I think maybe for one day, why don't we exchange? I go to work and you stay at home with the kids, take care of the home. And by the time this woman comes home, the guy is totally worn out. So I think it's good to appreciate every other person's space and know that it is also very important and make the other person to be seen. Because when we do that, we are creating peace and there's harmony, there's peace, and everything is smooth. And when everything is smooth, you find yourself even becoming more productive at work.
Okay. So James Kinyo here says on Facebook, social life is so important. Our lives can't be consumed. Let me just take that again. Where did it go? Our lives can't be consumed by our careers. We need time for friends, family, and fun. The future is not guaranteed. You can die tomorrow. Best to enjoy life now. Your career is meant to finance your social life. Your career is meant to finance your social life.
Yeah, it does. Social life is what? It's family and having a community.
Yeah.
So, of course, without money, it will be hard for you to finance all those things.
Also, it doesn't make sense when you are working and you don't have a social life, because then where exactly is that money going?
Yeah, where is it going to? Because you'll end up just saving and saving and saving, and you're not living your life. It's okay to save, yes, but of course, and for the future. But of course, it's good also to balance everything. Look at the future, look at the present, and look at your work life. Everything has to be in harmony.
I like that. I've never looked at it like that. And I think most of the people I've interacted with now, I get why they have a social life.
Yeah.
Because now if you are working, then that needs to go somewhere in terms of social life. Yeah, it's good that your work actually, gets to finance your social life. Yeah. All right, now Mary says, what is the right age to marry? I think this is coming from the conversation we are having, exactly how to have a clear path. So what is the right age to marry? If you're actually, planning your life and sitting, say now, maybe this is how my career is supposed to be, this is how this particular age I'm supposed to be having a family and things like that, she's concerned. What do you tell her?
I don't think there's a right time to marry, because some people get married at 25. For women, I think it's good to wait until you're about 24, because our brains and our emotions mature slowly, and up to a certain level now, then we can say that I'm completely ready. But I wouldn't say that there's a certain given time when people need to get married, because that would mean that if I meet a spouse and I'm 60, I've been single all my life and I'm 60, then I shouldn't get married because I'm 60. No, I think it is at the right time when you feel ready. Okay. But of course you must feel ready. And being ready for me is, how do I know myself, and how do I know what is good for me? Do I know this? Because many times we go looking for our soulmate while we don't even know our soul. You don't even know what your soul is. You've never found yourself, and you're out there looking for another person. You're expecting them to be perfect. You're expecting them to have these qualities. Do you have these qualities yourself? So I think as much as we are looking for a certain type of a person, it's good to now turn the mirror back to you and ask yourself, do I have these qualities myself? And if I don't, then I need to first of all work on them, because I will attract what I am. And if I get myself into something that is not working, probably it wasn't even attraction. So there will be conflict. And that's why we are having many marriages breaking up.
Okay. Now, Stanley Nyangere says, Stanley Nyangere says, I don't think there is a timeline for marriage. I agree with Angela. Once again, yeah? She agrees with you and says there's no timeline for marriage. Anybody, you can get married at 16, depending on how you plan yourself. That's it.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's talk about something to do with toxic work environments and just how that contributes to you not probably having a social life. And to some extent, some people do resign and say, that was toxic, let me just go do a business. And as we wind up, we are going to be talking about probably how, having a personal business is actually probably also a hindrance to, having a social life, because now you give a lot to that, you understand? So this toxicity at the workplace and balancing that with your productivity and also your social life, how do we get to that?
I think it's you can never have control of what is happening outside you. Outside you, and that means what matters most is what goes on inside you. So if I'm working in, probably my boss is very toxic, or one of my colleagues is very toxic, then it's up to me to first of all control what is coming from inside. So from inside out, I need to be in control of myself first of all. How I interpret what you do to me, how I interpret this environment is going to determine how I think and what I do. I mean, it's going to determine what I do after that. So sometimes we may not avoid so much the toxicity around us, but we can choose what comes inside me. We can choose what I absorb in by the way I interpret it. If today you come to me and slap me and walk away, I have a choice to say that this guy is insane, he's crazy, he's stupid, he's a fool and all that. But I also have a choice to also say that I have a problem, I'm foolish, I'm weak, there's something wrong with me, and that's why he slapped me. So you see, it's one thing, one act, but different scenario. So it's up to me to choose how to look at whatever happens around me and how to digest it and how to bring it for myself. For me, if you slapped me and walk away, you didn't say anything, I would just say that there's something wrong with this guy. If he knew better, he would do better. So it's nothing to do with me. I continue with my life. So I'm not saying you don't go fighting. Of course, maybe you would want to know why, but if you're not given that chance to get the why, what do? You have to choose what is yours, what is in there, what is building, what is inside you.
Okay. Let's talk about how organizations can actually help and how also we as employees can actually help organizations see the value in having a personal life and also helping us balance in terms of just schedules and all that.
It's personal responsibility for everybody to feel okay, to be happy, to be. So if as an employee, if you see something falling short in your place of work, you can bring it out in a manner that, of course, doesn't get you sacked. Or
where do you draw the line when it comes to that? Because anything can be taken out of context to some extent.
You will know the people you interact with better. So it's you can either bring it out by communicating communication, there are many ways of communicating, by body language, by the way you respond to things, and also by the way you speak. So if you're given the chance, and if there's a chance for verbal communication, then you can go ahead and give it. If there's no chance for verbal communication for something that is going wrong, then it is it's up to you to now change that.
Okay, so let's talk about the issue that I raised earlier, and that has to speak to people who break out of work environment, employment, and say, I think I've done enough here. I think that this was a little bit toxic for me, so let me find something else, and they decide to go into business. But that business also requires a lot of your time, because you have to invest a lot of your time in that. And with that, even family time becomes something that is, you just dream of, it doesn't even come. So even when you're making that shift of getting out of employment so that you can actually create time for your family, it could be because of maybe it's toxic and does not give you enough time, and you say, maybe I don't have enough time for my family, so I need to create enough time for my family. But even when you go to that personal space, and I'm going to be using this example of somebody who resigned because they needed time with their family, but when you look at the things they do in that personal space of doing a business and being self-employed, they are all over traveling. So you wonder, maybe it wasn't even the right move, because you don't even have enough time for that family. So how do you even balance that? What's the plan?
I think when you're getting into business, it's good to be prepared. And that's why we say, when you're working, don't just quit. Prepare yourself. Tolerate and prepare yourself. Don't just sit there. if you know that the environment is not good for you, prepare yourself until you're ready to now get out and begin something.
Okay.
So we can't say that just jump in. Of course, you'll never be completely ready, but it's good to take care of the basics. And now that takes care of the time when you're doing business now and you have a family and you have to be there for all of them. So it's good to know that as much as I prepare, you know, it will take, it will help you even to have maybe a helping hand, have another, maybe somebody else to come and partner with you, or somebody to come and work for you. And that will make it easier for you to have the right time that you need to have also for your family. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, now we've run out of time. I want us to wind up on this, but this is how I want us to do it. You see, Simba and Edu may be having a problem and with their personal life and work. Now I want us to give them, they have a week, or maybe they have 24 hours in a day. How do they balance this? How do they do work and at the same time find time for me time or something like that, or even family if they are told they have one? Either we take a week or we take a day, 24 hours. Let us help them plan for that 24 hours.
I think, well, first of all, it's good to build routines. Have routines for what matters. If something matters to you, you will give it time. So if having a family matters to you, or having a sitting with a friend, just over a cup of coffee and laughing, you will create time for that if it matters. So first of all, recognize what matters. And then build the right routines and build the right culture in your life. I like starting by how do you begin your morning? How do you wake up? You know, even waking up, there's a science behind that. So sometimes some people wake up and the alarm has gone off and you're still saying, 5 minutes more, you know? And that now makes you...
I think you're making it a personal attack. Don't attack me.
Maybe then try what I'm trying to pass across. Okay. So whatever it is that the way you wake up determines how you spend the rest of your day. If you've been doing that, you know, let me take some extra 5 minutes, or if you've been doing that, try this. Wake up and count. There's a 5-minute rule that was discovered, 5-second rule that was discovered by a lady called Mel Robbins. And she says, you've woken up, the alarm has gone off. So you count 5 seconds. So you begin by 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 means that get up. So get up and get out, and then you begin your day. Have a morning routine. How do you begin your morning? For me, what is personal for me, now I wake up, I get out of bed, I go brush my teeth, wash my face. Now that makes me wake up completely because I want to go to my God knowing what I'm saying. So I pray, I read the Bible, I put on either an audio book, and you know, how I begin my day matters a lot. And then a little bit of exercise here and there. It can be stretches if you're not an exercise person, although exercise is very important. But have something also that triggers your mood and your mind, and that now gives you now the permission to begin now the rest of your day. You'll realize that you will even spend more, less time at work and achieve more than you've been achieving if you're that snooze person.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, we're going to try that. Thank you so much. Let me take this one. Kipkiru Edwin says, work without play makes Jack a dull boy. Social life is important to avoid burnouts at work. Take breaks, it's never that serious. No one gets out alive. Okay, I agree with that.
Yes.
And I mean, it makes sense.
That's true. That's very true.
It's not something that we expected, but and he comes back and says, Branham, why this is for you? Your work is meant to fund your social life. I repeat. Thank you so much for making it loud and clear, my friend. Okay, Sesmo Time says, yes, there's no right time to marry until maturity. But when we get to marriage, how do we control toxicity and immaturity between couples? we're not having a conversation on that, but could you just touch on that a little bit?
How we control toxicity.
Yeah, because you could have gotten somebody that you're like, this is the love of my life, but when you get into that relationship, that's when you start, did I make a mistake?
I think it's good to know who you're getting yourself into or meeting and marrying. And it's good to establish that even before you get married. Okay, kitambo, you know, earlier days we used to, like my grandmother was fetching water and her husband found her with other ladies. Of course, he had planned with other men to come and carry her when she's fetching water. She became a wife and she lived her life. But then people used to know what my lane is, where I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing as a wife and all that. But nowadays, you marry people who are even pretending they wear a coat that is not theirs until now they get married. And once they're in that house, then this is who I am now.
Yeah, it's time to reveal myself.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Angela Nzilani, who is a life coach, for that awesome conversation. And I hope you've gotten a lesson or two and exactly how to plan your day and how to balance your social life and your work life, and also not make your social life something destructive that is going to destroy you as a person. All right, that does it for us here on The Morning Drift. The conversation we are having this morning is work-life balance. All right, let's do this again next time. My name is Brian Amwai. Have yourselves a lovely day. Shukran.